Leadership is about solving problems for your community. The day your community stop bringing you their problems is the day you have stopped leading them, if you have ever started at all. Coming up, Joburg Mayor Dada Morero has made a U-turn on his statements about committing to prioritize patching potholes and fixing malfunctioning traffic lights in Joburg ahead of G20, claiming that it was a wrong choice of language. This is what our mayor, Joburg Mayor, said first before he was put under fire by 702 listeners on Clement Manyathela Show. Listen to this.
We've prioritized certain routes within Johannesburg, which are G20 routes, to ensure that at least we can make them to be at the standard at which they should be. No potholes, no crisis or traffic signals that are not working. So we are focusing on that. But we are generally focusing on the infrastructure issue, including the water infrastructure. You'd know the reason why in the last month we didn't have water. We've fixed the problem, which was an electricity pump at Ekenhof station. Now, Ekenhof is one of the biggest stations in Gauteng. It supplies water right up to Rustenburg, and the entire 60% of Johannesburg relies on Ekenhof substation for them to have water right up to Madibeng. So yes, there was a challenge, but where we are now, we've got water supply throughout Johannesburg. No much challenges, and all the residents are receiving water.
Then Clement Manyathela invited him over to his Clement Manyathela Show on 702. And of course, 702 listeners and Clement put him under fire. Then he changed his tune. Then he started to say, oh no, I think there was a choice of language. Wow, a choice of language.
So, Mayor, why are you prioritizing these specific routes to make sure that they are in the standard that they should be? So also no traffic lights, no potholes. Just one second. Let me finish the question. Yeah. I'll give you a chance to come in.
Okay.
Why are you prioritizing these routes now when we have visitors coming, when there are citizens of Johannesburg that have been complaining about the very same traffic lights on the very same routes that you're going to be prioritizing, when people have been complaining about potholes on the very same routes that you're going to be addressing now? You seem to care more as the city about the guests and not the citizens of the city, because it communicates something different to them, that actually you do have the capacity to prioritize and fix things within a short space of time if you want to.
Two things, Clement. Maybe it's a question of language. We have taken a decision at our Khotla, which was held in November, and then the Khotla specified and what programs needs to be undertaken. And in that Khotla, we then said we are going to focus on the inner city rejuvenation, we're going to focus on bylaw enforcement, and we are going to focus on service delivery. We then unpacked what do we mean on service delivery. We said road infrastructure, water infrastructure, electricity infrastructure across the city of Johannesburg. And that is what we are committing to be doing. But we're also saying we need to give attention to the G20 as an event on its own, which has built up events throughout the year. And what it means we must ensure that even in those areas that are G20, we ensure that everything is proper, not because we're only focusing on the visitors. We make sure that even the routes that are not G20 routes are part of our program to ensure that we get them to the level at which our residents and the motorists in Johannesburg are happy, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
So we are doing this thing.
I guess what the residents are arguing, Mayor, is why are we waiting for events to do that? For instance, let me read you this message from Tato on the WhatsApp line, who says, Clement, Malibongwe, Cedar, Vetkoppen, Winnie Mandela, those traffic lights haven't been working for 2 years. Those are major routes that are leading to the heart of the African economy. When is the mayor going to fix these before the G20? So the impression being created here is that there are certain routes that have had potholes for years now. You go on, they're not being fixed. Traffic lights have not been working for so long. But now, because we have this incredible event where we're going to have all these international visitors, certain routes are going to be prioritized, right? When people have been complaining about other routes that have not been fixed for a long time, and now there are certain routes because there are important guests that are going to be traveling on them, or because there's going to be a concert or there's going to be a soccer match, then that becomes the priority of the city. Do you get where the residents are coming from?
Yeah, Clement, let's try and focus where we think we're doing good. Let us be appreciated. It's our job to ensure that we deal with traffic signals. Now, I say to you, last week we have entered into a proper agreement now with the provincial government. If you go to William Nicol, for example, the portion beyond the freeway going to Monte Casino is not our function. We have now agreed with the province that we will do the fixing, we'll invoice, and they will pay us. Now, we are attending to these things. We are also alive to the fact that your traffic signals, some will fix today. In 2 days, vandalism takes over. They are vandalized. They steal the copper. We have to go and reorganize budgets and resources to be able to address. Over the weekends, as a result of those who come from enjoyment and parties, they knock off the robots or the traffic light signals, and we have to go and mobilize resources to attend to those. But that is not an excuse. Our commitment as a city is to ensure that from time to time we restore these traffic signals so that they can function. There are other economic nodes that we have agreed as the city that we must prioritize these economic nodes to ensure that at all times they are not disrupted. This morning I was driving around Woodmead and I realized that the robots on the intersections were not functional.
Yeah.
Immediately raised the alarm with the JRA team that they must go and focus. Yes, it's a provincial intersection, all those signals, but their team will now be going to address it.
Okay.
Because we've agreed that where there's complaints being raised, we must respond and improve on our turnaround times in terms of responding to the queries. So we are doing those things.
Okay,
yes, it's true. We have challenges, Clement, but we also need the support of our communities, including them raising some of the service delivery failures that we don't see, and we can then respond as urgently as possible.
There's someone who says they've been complaining about the M1 from Senton for a while now. You have just decided as the city now that that's going to be one of the routes that you prioritize so that you fix and get them up to the standard that they should be.
I think, Clement, you're taking us to a discussion that is not going to help me and the residents.
Wait, hold on, Mayor.
It's not about prioritizing, and I think I've explained.
1 second, Mayor. Let me finish it first.
So I've also said to you, it's probably a question of language, but we have said we are focusing on the entire city in terms of infrastructure development to respond to the current challenges that we have.
Okay, Mayor, I got that, right? I got that. I want you to understand that I'm here representing the listeners. When they're raising questions to me, for you as a mayor, as someone who works for them, my responsibility is to ask you those questions. So I don't want you to think that I'm taking the conversation and veering it off. I'm telling you what the listeners who are residents of the city of Johannesburg that you represent and lead are saying. And I would not be doing my job if I do not tell you about that. So there's a listener here who says, I've been complaining about the M1 from Senton for the longest time. But right now, it's going to be prioritized because there are guests that are coming. And I'm not making this up. I can play you back the video, the message you said, what you said yesterday. You said, we are prioritizing certain G20 routes to maintain the standards so that to make sure that they're in the standard they should be in. Make sure no traffic lights are not working. Make sure there are no potholes. So do you understand how that communicates to that listener? And maybe you can respond directly to him. This listener who says, I've been complaining about the M1 from Senton. It's never been fixed, and it's only being fixed now. What do you say to him?
Let me just indicate that, Clement, we have been focusing on the traffic lights throughout Johannesburg. We have been focusing on the road infrastructure, and it's our responsibility to ensure that citizens at least receive the services that they require. So that's our focus, and we are going to do that. And in fact, Senton is one of our key economic nodes, And we've ensured that our economic nodes, we also make sure that the traffic signals, the roads are proper. Of course, there are budgetary constraints there and there. We are also investing in all areas, including Orange Farm, including Soweto. There's road surfacing that is happening currently in some roads in Orange Farm. So we are investing throughout.
So to be clear then, the language part is you're not prioritizing any routes. You are just responding broadly to infrastructure challenges. Is it fair to say that?
It's fair to say that, and that's probably the language issue.
So we are not.
But we are investing, and we appreciate when customers and residents raise these things, because they have to hold us accountable, and we must make sure that we respond to their needs. Where we are unable to do so, we must say why and what are the challenges, and when do we think we'll be able to respond to that particular query.
If you're a commuter in Johannesburg, you'll know that one of the major issues on our roads is not only the potholes, but the actual traffic lights being out, and especially along the main roads in Johannesburg. So we decided to take the route from the Johannesburg Executive Mayor's house, Dada Morero, all the way to his new offices here at the SAPI building, and see how many of the lights that he travels are actually out. So what we counted today was 12 major crossings along his route to his office, which were out. So that's a 37-kilometer trip, and these crossings will have between 3 to 5 traffic lights, all out. Those are on the main road and on Deckers Road. That's a very, very busy, heavily trafficked road that he would drive on every single day, like the rest of us stuck in traffic. But unlike many of the commuters, he does have blue lights. He does have the ability to speed and move through traffic. Obviously, that's for his own safety. But one wonders if he does take note of those traffic lights that are out on his journey every day.
Now, guys, you will remember what infuriates the people of Johannesburg is that our mayor, not only him, Dada Morero, but our mayors haven't been prioritizing the people of Joburg when it comes to road infrastructure. The people of Joburg who've been complaining almost on a daily basis about road infrastructure, potholes, and dysfunctional traffic lights. And these mayors could always come with an excuse that we don't have a budget, or we don't have a budget. But all of a sudden, when there are some visitors, international visitors, there is a budget all of a sudden. Now, if you ask me, that is an insult on the people of Johannesburg. And the people of Johannesburg who pay tax, who have been complaining about road infrastructure, even on mainstream media, deserve this.
Continuing with our problems in South Africa, Gauteng's pothole-riddled roads are a daily nightmare for motorists. While some holes are left and become bigger and bigger, others get a quick fix, only to reappear a few days later. But what is being done to address the pothole crisis in this province?
You can see here, I'm standing in what is supposed to be tarred road, but because of this unfortunate problem that we've got about potholes, it's actually not. But one of the biggest issues about this thing is the fact that there ends up being accidents, and besides the accident, residents end up having to have damaged cars that they have to repair. So earlier on, I caught up with a motor repair owner who actually spoke to the fact that insurance doesn't actually have, most insurances don't actually have coverage for potholes, and it is actually expensive to repair whatever damage that potholes have to do.
Now, guys, what even shocks me, well, maybe it's me, but please, guys, write there on your comment section what do you think about what I'm about to say. What even shocks me is that once potholes have developed on the road, even those ones that were closed, once they've opened, our municipalities, instead of closing the potholes, they will spend money, they will spend time and labor getting some signage board and write them, beware of potholes. Beware of potholes. Now I'm thinking, those boards, those signages, if you could count all of them, all over the province, and of course the woods that are being put on the ground, and the labor that goes into that thing, and the money that goes into that thing, why didn't they just take that money and just fix the potholes or maintain the potholes? That is so mind-boggling for me. I don't understand that. Please, guys, maybe it's me who's crazy or who's naive when it comes to this. Just drop a comment on your comment section in there, because this, for me, it's so stupid. It really doesn't make sense at all. Now you can see the insult of our government, the government of ANC, towards us people of South Africa. When I keep on saying that this government doesn't care about the people of South Africa. You look at how they handle the very same thing we are talking about right now, the issue of the potholes and the traffic lights that are not working. No, we don't mean anything to them. So that's why they don't even prioritize us to make sure that they fix potholes for the people of South Africa. They fix traffic lights for the people of South Africa. Look at how our government and our president, how he handled the issue of illegal immigrants in this country. Spaza shops, illegal spaza shops that were mushrooming all over, selling rotten food and poisonous food and killing our children. And if you listen to our government and our president, how did he handle that? He just said, give them permission to sell more of that food, give them permission to sell more, instead of addressing the issue that is facing and affecting the people of South Africa. What do you think? Let me hear your comment below. And of course, guys, if you are coming for the first time, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.